Now, we talked about Magic the Gathering. We talked about, Sony. We talked about you touched on Avatar a bit. So, again, pitting on that CEO hat or pitting on that corporate hat, they may be like, okay, I'm seeing some big, well-known, lore-based universes and character-based universes. But one thing that doesn't get talked about a lot is how Starlight Runner not only works on, big IPs like Spider-Man and Avatar and Ninja Turtles, you've also done a lot of work with FMCG, fast-moving commercial goods, like, Pepperidge Farm and Coca-Cola,
That's
you
true.
know? And how, okay, so when it comes to telling those narratives and those stories, what is that like? Getting away real quick just for a second from the Spider-Mans and the Avatars. What is like when somebody's like, yeah, but I just want to sell a Coke. Can you help me sell a Coke? Like, can I sell some goldfish?
Well, there are transmedia story worlds or story worlds that lend themselves to this universe, multi-platform storytelling. And I began to write about the fact that this technique is applicable to anything. And in fact, we're going to need to apply this technique to any mass communication. I had a colleague named Alan Berkson who kept encouraging me to talk about corporate narrative. And one of the reasons we talked about corporate narrative was that when I did the work with transmedia entertainment universes, one of the most powerful outcomes was how closely fans adored the product. So it activated fans. It made them communicate on YouTube and other social media platforms, but it also, of course, motivated them to purchase, products
Product, that's right.
with the brand name on them, um, and it was important for those products to authentically convey the brand. But when it did, boom, it was magic. It worked really well. So Alan told me, well, why can't we do this for other kinds of corporations and brands?
That's right.
And I'm like, Alan, it's so boring.
Right.
And he said, think of the benefit to doing this. In order for it to work, the company, the corporation, which is this monolithic thing, has to become more transparent. It has to speak
Mm,
more authentically with the consumer, with the customer. And when you do that, there's less subterfuge. There's less corruption. There's less. You have to be more real, right? You have to be more
that's
upfront
right.
about the product and your relationship with the consumer. So, isn't that what you want, Gomez? Don't you want a better world?
Right.
And I said, all right, you got me.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so I began to write about it, and Jonathan Mildenhall at Coca-Cola picked up on it. He was, one of the marketing gurus at the company, and said, "Hey, we have this intellectual property called Happiness Factory, an
Right.
animated commercial, and we want a lot more of it. We love these characters, we love this universe, but the ad agency is not interested in pursuing it very much.
Mm,
You help us develop the world so it's easier for Wyden and Kennedy to create more Happiness Factory content."
that's right.
And when I looked at it and studied it, I saw an ability to do what I've been talking with you about all this time, which was to express my artistic sensibilities through this world, and talk to the world about what happiness is and where it belongs in a world that was at war, because we were experiencing the post 9/11 war.
Mm,
And so I put that proposal together, and Jonathan accepted it, and we started working on a global ad campaign for Happiness Factory.
brilliant, brilliant. I love that we got to see both sides of you and Starlight Runner. With these heavy heavy lore-rich and character-rich IPs, and you bring in this transmedia storytelling to that. And also when Starlight Runner gets brought in to handle, commercial goods and fast-moving commercial goods and products, you bring in the corporate narrative and corporate journey and customer journey aspects to that too. So that's
Well,
amazing.
corporate narrative, Enrique, by the
Mhm.
way, corporate
Right.
narrative is something that we are more interested in at Starlight Runner. Alan has joined me in creating a white paper on corporate narrative.
Oh,
What
nice.
are the approaches that we take? Corporations have to be careful. If they don't, if they fall out of tune with the public, because we are such a polarized society right now, there can be trouble with regard to how to respond to consumer criticism. So we put together the 10 maxims of successful corporate narratives. It's a white
Mhm.
paper on corporate narrative, which integrates elements of transmedia and other narrative tools that
Mhm.
I use in my entertainment work and applies them to corporations.
Can't
Yeah.
wait, can't wait. So Starlight Runner is capable of handling heavy IP and fantasy and entertainment and sci-fi and entertainment brands and IP, and also very capable of handling commercial goods, products, and services, and taking care of their narrative needs on both sides. And would I be correct to say that?
You would. We're very lucky in that we get to choose who we work with.
Mm, nice.
um, so it's not open doors for everyone.
Right,
We're not going to do your cigarette brand. Sorry,
right.
but yes, that's absolutely the case.